For the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, Nigeria has been having challenges that are beckoning and waiting for answers and solutions. That is why we are bringing to you our program, State of the Nation. And this is going to come up on our flagship program this morning on ITV. I am hereby inviting you to join me, BAKARE, your host, on State of the Nation, so that we can hasten the motions that brings national development. It's going to be a regular basis on Tuesdays. Make it a date with me. I'll be there waiting for you, and then we shall discuss Nigeria on an holistic level.
Lately, a few days back, we had our Democracy Day. And on that specific day, Mr. President came out and gave us his bid, and it was a good one. Nigerians were happy. I was happy too, because all we were thinking about all these days is we seldom see our president. But Mr. President came out and gave everybody a shocker. He talked to us, we listened, and at the end of the day, what most of us were saying is, Mr. President, please do some more. We need you to talk to us some more. But this morning, we're talking in terms of our democracy and the impact of that June 12th that gave us our Democracy Day. I want to say thank you to Mr. President for rejigging that date from May 29 to June 12th. Because in doing that, we have been able to give kudos to the activists, to the comrades, to the groups, to the civil society organizations, to the NGOs, and most of all, to those that lost their lives in the quest for democracy, which we are enjoying today. With me in the studio, I have my very good friend here, Yushau Aliu. He is an economist extraordinaire, he is an analyst, and he is a Nigerian. Join me in welcoming Yushau Aliu. You're welcome to the
Thank you, Mr. Bola, and good morning, Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Our democracy, as they say, has been unbroken for 22 years. And then we are enjoying it. We are praying, we move in leaps and bounds from where we are to better democracy where everything is suited. I will take you back to the impact of June 12th. As at the time of June 12th, we had a situation on hand where two parties were forced on us, albeit unconstitutionally, and it worked. But these days, if you look at the situation on ground, INEC keeps registering and deregistering. We have political parties close to 100. We had ballot papers that are the length of our wife's wrapper. This is a situation that does not augur well. In comparison, those days when we had two parties, all we did was we queued up behind our man, exercised our rights, and that has been the freest and fairest elections we've had in Nigeria. Not just that alone, it was violence-free. I will want you to run a comparative analysis for us. Where did we miss it? How can we rejig and revive that element of electioneering without violence? Give me that first. Let me hear your thoughts on that. Without violence.
Element of patriotism.
Thank you.
We just have to be patriotic enough to understand that we have a state, and to understand that we are stakeholders, and to also understand that we must give our own quota for the development of that state.
Of course.
Obviously, when June 12 is mentioned, it's good to mention June 12, but historically, June 12, even before independence, has remained a serious date for Nigerian history.
Educate me.
Early enough, even before Second World War, Our banking struggle began on June 12th.
Can you beat that?
Yes, of course, yes. So, and it was perfect. It was chosen by the British. And we don't know the reason why. But looking at the fact that when you look June again, 12, 1993, then we have to go back again 10 years before then, June 12, 1983. That was the date our democracy was truncated. So, but obviously after...
We can have a good laugh over it.
But after 10 years, here is another annulment by the military.
Which was a big annulment.
But you cannot put accusing finger to the military alone.
Oh yes, the politicians are there.
Who are those behind Association for Better Nigeria that took the decision of National Electoral Commission to court, not to conduct an election? And at the same time also, the same Association for Better Nigeria took the same neck, National Electoral Commission, to court, not to announce the result.
Hey, well, I guess this was an underlying factor of using them.
And at the same time also, anytime we're discussing June 12th,
yes,
I always ask myself, Abiola is not with us to say things that he knew perfect that happens on June 12th. But we have his running mate, King Gibe. And I think it's a good opportunity for King Gibe to stood for June 12th and to also be a party anytime June 12th is celebrated to advance certain issues that are cogent for the development of our democracy.
Let me interject you there. You've been able, I really want to thank you for that. You've been able to educate us on the factors and that date in itself, June 12th.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. But what I'm saying now is, let us fuse what we've had. Whatever a man goes through is called experience.
Yeah.
We have the experience. Let us infuse the experience into what is happening as we speak. Let me ask you a straight-laced question. Do you think 2 or 3 political parties will work for us?
They cannot work for Nigeria as a state because of plurality.
Hey, give me a short reason for that.
Of course, yes. Now, you have mentioned in the background that we have multiple political parties. That is why today we have a free society that has an uninterrupted transition, that has uninterrupted democracy in action.
Okay.
And that of plurality, we should also look at also the composition of the state. Nigeria has 32 states of the federation.
Okay.
And also you look at the demographic structure of Nigeria.
That's right.
When you look at that, you understand that Nigeria is not good enough for 2-party or 3 parties. But even with the fact that we attempted to practice the American model of democracy that is currently operating with Democrats and Republicans, and probably we thought we can be either Democrat or Republican, we cannot at this time establish that.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Divergent
us, we haven't changed, which is us. We're
United States, we share common history. Fought a civil war. We fought a civil war. But
why haven't we been able to manage 2 parties then?
Of course, because of the philosophy of what is called democracy and the concept of understanding nationhood. The Americans are patriotic. When they look at
what has happened to us?
What has happened to us, because we are always trying to preach peace, which is a symbol of our flag, which is in between the green, which is also the agricultural background of our state and the green.
Yes, of course.
So that alone does not explain what Nigeria is all about, a plural society with over 250 ethnic groups. But the ethnic group is not the problem. The fundamental issue was that Nigeria was amalgamated. And when it was amalgamated, it was fragmented. We are divided then. Even the Middle Belt, you check the political parties before independence.
Okay,
You check so that background stipulate that we have a different orientation, different background that cannot be compared with other Republicans in the Americans or the Democrat in the American democracies, because we have different understanding of what is called democracy, and we also practice different model of democracies, and even the system that establishes the state as what it is today in Nigeria, using indirect and direct rule to rule.
Let me hold you there a little bit.
Yeah.
Let us pause and get some commercials from our sponsors. You were talking in terms of the concept we've had, and now we have been able to manage the concept, the element of patriotism, which is lacking in some instances. And then, you see, the thing is, my question for every situation I find myself is in two folds. The moment you identify your challenge, you are halfway through. Let's start thinking in terms of how to prefer solutions to some of these our challenges. You are really, really happy on patriotism. What has happened to our patriotism?
A lot of military decrees came. First, decree number 4, that limited individual press to speak about the same democracy.
Of course, yes.
So, and when I was explaining some of the hitches that brought about why we cannot have just two political parties
yes,
to take Nigeria to the promised land, I was explaining the background.
Okay.
Now, if you take the entire northern part of Nigeria,
Okay.
that happens to be under the indirect rule approach by the colonialists.
Good.
Our traditional institutions were working perfectly. But along political line, the system, the political system, the elite, the people were divided. The NPC was pro-monarch.
The monarchy was
While Aminu Kano thought that we cannot be approaching using colonial tendencies to rule indigenous Nigeria.
Yes.
He came with the Northern Element Progressive Union.
NEPO.
That divided the North entirely.
It was good for politicking, really.
Yes, and that is why I'm trying to explain to you why we cannot have single political
parties. Go ahead, I'm enjoying this.
So the second aspect is the fact that because of multiplicity, plurality of northern base of our political class, even though the NEPO have tried as much as possible to bring all the smaller ethnic group into the MPC, but they could not succeed because of the Middle Belt Forum. They were thinking that also these people are dominated probably because they are ethnic houses or ethnic Fulanis or Muslims.
That's another one you've added to it. We've got from 1 to 2 to 3.
To 3. So this is from the north.
Okay.
Now going to the east, or entirely the southeast entirely, you have somebody that was having a northern background. Nnamdi Azikiwe, born in Zungeru.
Zungeru, yes. Of course.
And now understanding the political terrain of the north, and then quickly came up with a political party which is to be respected by his ethnicity. But unfortunately,
there we go again.
The Niger Deltas,
they came up with
another political party.
That's right.
And looking at the fact that when they were thinking that, look, if we are partners today in this democracy, what is our take in this democracy?
Yeah, naturally, they are stakeholders. We should have a stake and we should have a take.
They have their seaports.
Agreed.
They have the base of the economy.
Agreed.
Then definitely they must form an opinion. And there is no way you quarrel with that opinion.
Naturally, yes.
The Southwest, highly educated. Egbo Modudwa. Instead for them to sit in the Southwest and even understand the political nitty-gritty of the Southwest, they moved to UK. And then began political talk and came up with a movement which later translated into a political party. Then definitely this is how we started before independence, before June 12, and then came at a situation where there must be an independent Nigeria.
Naturally, yes.
So after taking the independence, we saw what transpired. They're trying to form government. So these are some of the political issues that divided us as people, that cannot also put us together as people, because psychologically politically, we have different opinion and we have different understanding of the Nigerian project.
Thank you for that aspect, for that insight in making me and Nigerians out there understand the fact that if we are thinking in terms of our parties, our political parties are too humongous, he has been able to give it to us based on history, based on situations, based on occurrences, that even ab initio we had close on 5 political parties. These political parties are very, very important in our democracy.
Yes.
We have to manage them, and we manage them right. There are instances where political parties are formed based on, in a nutshell, I don't want to use any foul language here, 0 reasons. 0 reasons. We have been able to see through some of them. These are the ones that hamper our democracy. These are the ones that distort the operation of INEC. These are the ones that warranted a situation where INEC now comes to the element of deregistry. Because at times I told the line of INEC, the man that deregisters 2 today registers 1 tomorrow. Because he believes in what you believe in, what I believe, that political parties are an integral part of our democracy. But as it is 70 political parties the way to go? 70 is absurd. You've preached 5 now, and with those 5, there were good reasons beyond those 5. What do you think? What is your take? I am not trying to go against anybody's fundamental human right here that says you have a right to form a political party, we have a right to come together and form a political party. Don't you think INEC should have more stringent guidelines that will reduce these numbers and make it manageable?
It cannot be the work of INEC, and neither it cannot be...
It's a constitutional thing.
It's a constitutional issue, and also it cannot be an executive order.
No, it can be. It can be. It has to do with the National Assembly.
It has to do with the National Assembly. The best political parties ever in the history of Nigeria that were able to represent a lot of interest group is 1979. 1978-79 election, when we had only 5 political parties.
SDP, and
no. MPN, PRP.
Yes.
MPP,
NPP,
GNPP, and UPN.
Good. That was what we had then. That was 5. And that 5 goes in tandem with what we had prior
to independence. And it was the best arrangement because of many facts that include probably the geographical spread.
That's true.
I remember vividly UPN then had very strong membership in Kaduna and Kano.
Yes.
To the extent that when there is wrangling in a political party, like what we saw in Kano with BAKARE, he quickly jumped into MPP. and we have also seen how Dr. Muhammad Jumare of late memories in Zaria joined Obafemi Awolowo, UPN.
UPN, yes. That was when politics was politics.
Very rich, very coordinated,
yes,
and very responsible. But unfortunately, our attitude to managing the state, it what has tempered that success recorded.
We cannot afford to be lethargic. We have to infuse our history. That was what I said earlier.
Yeah.
We've had the experience. Let us now use the experience to foment a better Nigeria.
Yeah.
We've moved from 5 pre-independence. We had 5 political parties at 79. As we speak, we have close to 100.
Yes.
The attitude of the politician is not too good. We have to prefer solutions.
It's not politicians, Mr. Bola.
A politician constitutes every other thing.
No. All politicians has to work with rules and regulations.
That's true.
And we just have to go back to that same base.
That's true.
If you go back to that base with the registered political parties, there is no way you confuse an old woman of 80 years with over 70 political parties to choose a leader.
The paper is a mess.
Even the symbols.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
So we cannot afford to continue on that track, but for the purpose of maturity, so that our democracy cannot always be termed as a nascent democracy.
It's not, I don't
Now,
believe in that word. At 22 years.
we just agreed that it's a mature democracy.
It's a mature democracy. At 22 years, most of our kids are 22, are out of university.
Not only 22. When you check the June 12, the June 12 is about becoming 40 years
Oh,
old.
yes.
by 2023.
But yeah, that's true. It's 40 years old. That was where we started.
That's where we started.
We grew
so if from 13 to June 1993, June 2003, June 2013, June 2023, we are going to be 40 years. A fool at 40 is a fool forever.
I just hope our own case will not
but
be
what we are saying here is the fact that when you understand the nitty-gritty of what it takes to be a Nigerian in the first instance,
yes,
we have to teach ourselves. We have to bring curriculum to understand the real why there must be political parties.
That's true.
And also it's not the responsibility of the INEC in all ramifications.
It's a constitutional matter. It's a constitutional
Let
matter.
me give you one fundamental issue which I now cited as a problem.
Yes,
Before, when we had only 5 political parties, it was just National Electoral Commission formed by a decree.
That's right.
Now that we have independent, probably people are taking advantage of that independence to assume that each and every Nigerian can have a political party.
Yes,
because if I can have Bola from the far and say, okay, you are my member there, get a location, let us do the process in order to access certain benefit from that is meant for political party. That will not solve our issues. People must understand that by political party, we should also look at those that have succeeded. In the British democratic setting, we have seen how the Labour and
Tory
they are performing. And in the American system, we have seen, and that was the vision of those that decided for us to have either socialist or Republican structure in the form of NRC and SDP.
SDP, yes.
But that cannot work for
as we speak.
As we
but
speak.
it is a template that we can develop on, based on what you said earlier, that we have to move from one step. We have to stop being lethargic.
Yes.
We have to be dynamic. We have to be, one word that you used, ab initio, was that word, patriotic. Patriotic. We have to believe in patriotism as a full-blooded word, underlined and highlighted.
Yes.
Without patriotism, without the right attitude, we are not going anywhere.
We are not going
and
anywhere.
Every day we are praying that Nigeria should become a better place for everybody to live in. Let me throw another thing at you. We have, like you said, 22 years is not a small boy. We have had what people call nascent democracy. To me, it's no longer nascent.
It's not nascent.
We are out of university at 22. Nigeria is out of the university.
Yes.
And then I can call the way we've been having our democracy. Let me use one word for it. We've been fumbling, we've been wobbling all along, and we are still here. But at the same time, there are some salient challenges that is challenging our democracy. One of which is insecurity. Because first and foremost, you need to be alive to do anything. You need to be alive to ply a road. You need to be alive to access health. You need to be alive to eat. Virtually from A to Z, you need to be alive to do it. And that in itself has become a challenge to us. Our security is now a challenge. The simple questions will now come up. Are we overwhelmed with the situation we find ourselves? Are we inadequate? Are we not up to speed? What should we do? These are situations that brings you and I to this sitting table. Okay, let's look at what we can do. Because there is no insecurity without factoring in governance, without factoring in politics. Politics drives governance, and governance drives everybody.
Yeah.
So, coming from you, fuse the three together, the politics, the governance, in terms of how we can fight insecurity.
How we can fight insecurity, first of all, since we are discussing politics, despite the fact that I am an economist and I believe that we are discussing...
I'm waiting for you to even infuse
yes,
that.
We are trying to check the economic implication of having multicultural society, the implication of having divergent opinion in a state. And I also want us to understand that insecurity you mentioned, it has to do with, first, security with political ideology. A lot of our politicians today are not secured politically because they did not secure their political ideology. That ideology is very important. It's only when you have political ideology that you now build on patriotism. How do you do that? Let me give you an instance where, because of political appointment, people will engage in carpet crossing. Just to
they jump ship today, they jump ship tomorrow.
That does not translate into good ideology.
They have a political party.
They don't believe. So that attitude in our laws has to be checked properly. You cannot just be crossing from political A to B just like a nightmare.
It's improper.
Economically.
Yes, that's my last word for you. Make it your last word and let us close it from
when you mention political system,
okay,
political system has very high economic connotations. And the first thing is that economic interest. What is the interest of that political ideology? What do we intend to achieve?
Is there any ideology there?
That is what I'm trying to tell you, that if we are even talking about security, before we talk of security, because in economics,
yes,
under production possibility frontier, we always discuss how resources are shared between butter and gun.
That's right.
So, but I don't want us to limit our discussion on butter and gun.
That's right.
But we have to also look at the ideology. Let us have political ideology. Let us understand the implication of having multiple political parties. Let us also understand that in a plural society, the best thing to do is to try as much as possible to use the constituencies to understand the basic needs of individuals in their electorate. And when we do that, that is how you can solve the problem of a Niger Delta fisherman that need access road and find pipe-borne water and a good health facility. You also look at those that live in the desert and provide what will keep them adequately so that they can be part of the society. What brings insecurity is a situation where political don't have political ideology, they don't have a base. Therefore, whatever we are doing, we translate it. Remember, the insecurity that we are seeing today started with some of the political thuggery. The ECOMOG in Maiduguri.
That's right.
So these are things that translate based on how we understand social system. But I think if we begin to analyze this issue economically, this time it will not contain us. But I think probably it's best to understand that today June 12 has come. June 12 is a lesson to every politician. And the entire world has to respect Nigeria for June 12.
On that note, I would like to say thank you.
Thank you very much.
And from our viewers, that has been Yushau Aliu, an economist. I wouldn't like to call him a politician, but a man who is vast in political analysis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for gracing my program this morning.
Thank you.
For the past 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, Nigeria has been having challenges that are beckoning and waiting for answers and solutions. That is why we are bringing to you our program, State of the Nation. And this is going to come up on our flagship program this morning on ITV. I am hereby inviting you to join me, BAKARE, your host, on State of the Nation, so that we can hasten the motions that brings national development. It's going to be a regular basis on Tuesdays. Make it a date with me. I'll be there waiting for you, and then we shall discuss Nigeria on an holistic level.